right, we should be good to go. Just checking everything real quick. Okay, that's good. And disco, we are live. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Jedi Academy. If you're new and wondering what the hell this is, well, this is where we bring the best and brightest of content creators, YouTubers, whoever we get our grubby paws on, and bring them in here. And this is a straight Q&A show, and the way it works is if you have a question about the game Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, we've brought the best and the brightest and sprinkled in a little bit of mental damage, which is RSG, and we are here to answer your question. So the way it works is if you have a question, put that into chat. Make sure you put question in front of your statement, or we will not scoop it up. And then we will kind of go round robin and give your question to lots of folks here, and we will answer your question to the best of our abilities. So that's how it works. Glad to see everybody here on this July 4th weekend. Hope everybody's having a good morning. So grab your croissant, grab your coffee, grab whatever morning or delicacy here in the U.S. you want. If you're over in Europe, then you're probably having afternoon tea or doing something. I don't know, drinking beer at this point. But we're glad to have you here. With that being said, shout out to everybody in the chat. Glad to see you guys here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And with that, let's introduce everybody here. First, my co-host and heterosexual life mate that helps do all the stuff that I don't want to do. Dr. Finn Medicine Woman's here.
I had a bagel.
That's right. Good job. That's a good call. Also joining us is, of course, the father of my apprentice, the one and only Stoner Jedi, Xylo Takedown.
Good morning, skewers. Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Good morning, good morning. And what did you have for breakfast?
The missus literally just made some omelet, scrambled eggs, peppers, cheese.
Wow.
I'm going in now.
And so that was for the apprentice. What did you eat?
The apprentice had some applesauce and what was it? Applesauce and grilled cheese for breakfast. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, that's part of a very important balanced breakfast full of vitamins and minerals for any growing Sith. And then last but not least, our returning champion. You know him, you love him. All the way from the mountains of Colorado, where he goes around cutting down trees with his hands and killing him a grizzly bear. The one and only Warrior from Warrior Presents.
What is going on, you guys?
What's going on, Warrior?
Not much. I was just reading the news yesterday. I'm flipping through national news, and I'm just like, oh, what's on the headlines? And there's this massive fire in Colorado in Grand Junction. I was like, oh, our fire made national news. That's awesome.
Hey.
We had kids playing with the illegal fireworks near homes, and they accidentally lit up the field near their house, and it ended up catching on fire, which caught a lake area on fire that's near a bunch of homes. And anyway, they got it put out, but it was not good.
Well, Warrior, what did we tell you about playing with fireworks?
Yeah, right.
So what you did?
Yeah.
That's why Colorado Grand Junction can't have nice things. Warrior just goes around, does what he wants, starts drinking, and we know what happens when Warrior starts drinking. No, I made all that.
I don't care. I do what I want.
You don't know him. You in the chat said Warrior is now super famous and is a part of the world stage. He's famous, but not that famous. Not yet. Not yet. All right, so go ahead and get your questions in. Finn is scooping those up, and we'll start getting to those here in a few minutes. I usually let this time at the beginning of the show where we just kind of give everybody a chance to tell their thoughts. I know, Warrior, we were talking previously about your Scissorman account, which people are really enjoying, but with the new stuff in the game, with we've had a chance with Grand Arena Championships to come through the exhibition and the GOTB. What are your general thoughts, my friend?
Well, I think that all in all, the GOTB was, for the effort put in, the rewards were finally at a level that I could be happy with Capital Games and their assessment of what rewards should be. So that was pretty cool. We got 9 stars, and I mean, we felt pretty much like maybe we shouldn't do it again, at least not yet. And then we saw the rewards, and we were like, we're definitely doing that again. So hopefully they didn't do exhibition rewards. It better not get worse. That's all I can say. The rewards were what they should be for something that effort. And then as far as the Grand Arena, like we were just talking about before the stream started, double-edged sword, it's fun, but it's difficult. I mean, the last Grand Arena, it was a lot of fun. I won on Scissorman all 3 battles, but I'm still like 2,500. Like, I didn't even get anywhere close to the top. I don't understand that. So whatever. Yeah, I don't know how exactly all of that works out as far as the point system. I know that you're supposed to get 100 points or 1,000 points every time you win, and I know that the second battle I won, I did not get that.
Yeah.
So I think that skewed my results, but by 1,000 points, which I think is a lot in the Grand Arena scheme of things. But it was an exhibition, so whatever. But it's weird. It's like on my alt account, it's fun. On my main account, I'm completely nervous to even play Grand Arena, and this is why. Popping a character to Gear 13 does not raise your GP.
No.
The only GP you get is the actual piece of gear that you're putting on there, which is like 600. That's it. And so I could have someone that's 5.6 that has no Gear 12 or no Gear 13, or you could have someone that's 5.6 that has the top 40 Gear 13. And the thing is Gear 13 is a totally different world than Gear 12. So this Gear 13 is not reflected in GP, which is the sole purpose, sole way that they do the deciding who gets what person and stuff. So I'm a bit like ugh about it, because I'm sure that all the top whales that I go against, they're all whaled out. They probably have like 20 to 40 characters at Gear 13, and I'm like basically done. I don't have any more of the Sith raid pieces, and I can't get that stuff. So even if you whale out and were to get those in the store, you can only get 25 pieces. You need 50 a week, or you need 50 per piece, and so you only get 25 pieces per week. So you'd have to wait 2 weeks of whaling out just to get one piece.
Right.
So like, okay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm done. It's just like the Gear 13 thing was fun but done, and I am. So I guess we'll see. We'll play it out. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not very hopeful on my main account.
Well, you'll always have Scissor Man. That's all that. That's all that matters. All right, Stoner. That is a Jedi. That is Zyla. What are your thoughts about all the stuff this week? We got GOTB. We're in the same guild, so we suffered together in the trenches and held each other as Phase 3 and 4 hurt us tremendously. Anything on your mind this week? What stood out to you this past week?
Well, I mean, the Grand Arena Championships in general, Grand Arena Championships ranked like 542 right now, so I'm really happy with that. I mean, like the ranking system, it's left to be decided, right? Like, I mean, the ranking system, we got to get through this next exhibition phase and get into the season 0, as they would call it, right? Get into the actual matchmaking and the actual game mode itself. So there's still some things left to see. And then Grand Arena, GOTB, I loved it. I loved the difficulty. I loved the aspect of having something to chase. Just got brewed out for the Gear 11 last night. He's got 5 stars today, so progression's there. Maybe put a Zeta on who's unique. I'm just trying to work up the Separatist faction, get them to Gear 12, and get them the right Zetas. New Gunray Zeta sounding pretty good right now. Got to finish the B2 Zeta on the Grievous team, and that team's done. Yeah, I mean, and then focusing on light side GOTB coming around the corner too. I mean, I don't expect it to be in the next couple of weeks, but I want to be in a good position to where I have more of the pieces geared up and ready to go, getting some of the Galactic Republic characters that I think are valuable up to Gear 11, Gear 12, and then also preparing for this negotiator team too as well, getting the ships in the right place, getting the right materials upgraded and everything like that too, getting ready for that team to be put together as soon as the negotiator gets unlocked, and then looking to start Gear 13 with some of these Padme teams. So.
That's right, my apprentice. Your father has talked too long. Let's move on. Finity, your thoughts?
This
past week.
I mean, we we talked about it a little bit on our streams. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I was really happy with it. It's little things that they can tweak here and there, but overall, I think this was a big win for CG this last week with Grand Arena Championships and GOTB. Little things here and there that they can improve on, but that's with anything, right? Just constant little tweaks, but nothing major, so I was happy.
All right. Okie dokie. So now it is time to get to the questions. So we'll start with Scissorman Warrior, and we'll go down the list. So Paparazzi, first question, and she says round robin. After Darth Revan, Malik, and Darkseid Bastila.
Hi, Mrs. Ilo. Sorry, Mrs. Ilo was just waving on the.
Where?
Down. She was just on the camera.
Oh, I'm sorry, mistake. That's all right. I wish I could see it, but I'm too busy doing the damn stream. Finn, why don't you help me?
I can read the questions until later. I told you I'm here until.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you know what? I apologize, Finn. It's too much going on. All right. Well, Finn, then take over the questions. So we'll start with Warrior and just work our way around.
All right. So Warrior, the first question to you is from Crispy Biscuits, and he says, "Did you notice on Scissorman that the Falcon requirements are broken, only requiring 3 7-star ships and a 6-star capital ship for 7-star?"
No, I did not. It's not broken on my account. I've been having to do 3 or 4 refreshes per ship for the last few weeks to barely get to the minimum requirements to even play. So, no, I didn't notice that.
So I can follow up, and I'll give you another question too, Warrior. So it's not broken; it's graphically broken. And what I mean is that the event says that you only need 3 ships instead of 4, and so it gets all funky. They actually put it on Reddit. I don't know why they didn't put it on the forums, but they replied on Reddit saying that this is a known bug, but the requirements are still the same as everything else. It just they have the wrong text showing. So that's probably what you're seeing there. Okay, so then your next question, Warrior, from Ron Osborne. What would your ideal Geo rework consist of?
Well, the biggest thing with the bugs right now is they're death by 1,000 cuts, so they're really cool. They're kind of like the Ewoks now, right? They a bunch of mass attacks and they like flutter over together. I think it's really fun. I got a video of them like fluttering together, and it's probably the coolest animation in the game in my eyes because I love the bugs. So I love watching my brood be like, yeah, let's do this, and then like they all flutter over there a couple of times and whack somebody to death, and the turn meter gain and all that. So the damage obviously could be cranked up just the tiniest bit, just a little bit, because it's a little bit Ewokish. And then the kids are kind of like just totally and completely absent any debuffs that matter, that are consistent, that kind of thing. Like, like 80% chance to apply this, and hardly anyone has any. In this world, in this game, you now have to have a team that's fully balanced. So a fully balanced team means that you're going to be able to apply at a minimum days consistently from someone. You're going to be able to apply a stun from someone, potentially 2 people. When that mass attack hits, if 2 or more crits, there should be a stun involved. And I know that sounds overpowered, but it's really not, because stuns only last for a few seconds until their turn meter comes up. So it's basically a skip a turn, you know what I mean? Or it could apply stagger on the second crit, and then the third person that hits will stagger that person and basically skip that character's turn. Something that gives them just a little bit more time to kind of, slice you to death with, the 3,000 hits. So I don't know. The debuffs are the thing that I feel like are kind of missing. It's the same thing with like the clones. The clones are really great now with all the damage, but they don't have a way to like, stun or daze or, any of the like really important debuffs are just totally absent from their kits. So, and the debuffs are a really, really important key component of control in a game. And I just feel like they need to make sure that they go back and touch the the debuff side of things and make sure that they balance that out.
All right. Next up, we got Stoner.
All right. So Xylo, question from Paparazzi: what do you plan on doing with your Geos in Territory Wars and Grand Arena?
The Geo's definitely like an offensive-minded team. Like, and that comes up to like if you're gonna use them, right? Like, so the Ewoks, I kind of put them in the back burner as like a 9 or 10 team, unless I need to use them for like a way to save my JTR or something like that. So with the Brood Alpha introduction, they're definitely a way better offensive-minded control team, and with Geo Brood Alphas, both specials being able to clear and cleanse debuffs and buffs. I mean, like it's just like an offensive minded team, because you could easily throw something like Nest or a short-handed team in general to kind of rock over these guys with the right debuffs and the right mechanics. So it's still a great team, but it's also a top-tier investment, right? So you're going to need to take these guys at least to Gear 12 for the Wat Tambor mission, potentially higher for the rest of the territory battles. So my plan overall is to at least round them up to Gear 12, and then potentially Brood Alpha will be one of my first 5 to 10 characters to take Gear 13, because he's just going to need that extra boost in survivability, and then giving his mechanics that extra push to Gear 13, I think it makes a lot of sense, just because he's the leader of that team, and once he gets going, it's just such a great offensive-minded team. That's just my opinion.
All right. So the next question is a around the corn question, and we have a sighting of somebody else in the chat.
What?
Sir Locomotive.
Sir Loki.
Loki? Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Okay, I guess I'll let the sexy Buddha answer some questions. That's just if he's there to participate.
Loki, do you want to say hi to the people first?
Hi, people.
All right.
Don't you usually sleep till like 1 on Saturdays or something?
That's the plan, but
after all your straight pimping and player,
yeah.
All right, so we'll go.
I'm good. I'm here for the people.
All right, so we'll go around the corn. We'll start with you, Loki, and then we'll give you your first question. So around the corn, starting with Loki. Question from Paparazzi: after Darth Revan, Malik, and Darkseid Bastila, what are the next 5 Gear 13s that you're planning to do, and in what order? So have you thought about your next 5, Loki, after those 3, or are you doing those 3, or what are your Gear 13s?
So I did do Revan, Malik, Bastila Shan Fallen, and then I did HK just to kind of finish out that team. And then I actually did Old Daka. I love it. Just super tanky. And then from there, I'll probably work on Galactic Republic. So I'll probably do Anakin, General Kenobi, Lightside Bastila. Is that 5?
Yes.
I think that's 5. Yes,
Yeah, I think that's
right
5.
there. That's what I would do.
All right.
Or that's what I'm doing. That's my plan.
All right. Warrior, what about you?
Regular Revan, regular Bastila, and then a couple Night Sisters probably.
All right.
Okay. Xylo?
So I've already done Fallen Bastila, and my next route is Darth Revan, General Grievous, and then the Padme team. I'm skipping Malik.
You're skipping Malik.
Yeah. Now I am pushing like his last, because I just got it for Gear 12 like 2 days ago, and I'm pushing for like his other 5 pieces first right now, and then rounding up the salvage. But I've also been hearing not a lot of people having a good like feedback on Gear 13 Malik, like it not seeing much of a difference between his boosts. So I mean, I'm trying to think more down the road.
I'm telling you, that dude is sick. I took mine to Gear 13, almost 190,000 HP, and
speed,
mine's still about to be, once I do the last slicing, he'll be like 302 speed.
So what I did was I took Warrior's advice, and I remodded my Malik for really fast and really tenacious. So he's at like 276 speed, and this is before both of his Gear 12 Plus pieces. He's got one on right now, so you can still get 6 speed from that. And I got him over 180% tenacity, so those debuffs are not landing for the opposition. And I feel like right now with GOTB, light side and dark side, the precedence that it's requiring Gear 13 characters, I think I'm gonna bite the bullet on Malik. You know what I mean? Like, get the speed for Revan and Bastila, make sure the team's fast enough, and then from that point, Gear 13 is basically gonna have cause and effect for light side, dark side GOTB. Like, I'm focused on the Grievous team and the Padme team after I do Dark Revan. So.
All right.
Okay, so let's
And
get to.
and we know Finn's not doing any Gear 13 because he doesn't care.
No, I'm doing Gear 13, but
Okay.
I haven't gotten my first piece yet. So my first one is going to be Fallen Bastila, then Darth Revan, then.
Where does Crew land?
Yeah, where
So
you?
Crew is going to be one of the first ones after my first 4. So
Of
Fallen Bastila is
course.
going to be my first, then Darth Revan. Then it's going to be Malik, depending on when Malik comes and me gearing him up, because I don't have Malik yet, so I need to wait for that return. Then it's going to be Jedi Knight Revan, and then the next 2 were going to be Daka and Crew, actually. So
Okay, next question back up top to Running with Scissors.
we have to give Loki his first question.
Oh, that was right. That was around the
Yeah.
corn question. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So Loki, your question from TNT Gaming: do you think level 90 will be here by the end of summer?
Could be before the end of summer.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
so like
Yeah.
end of August,
I would-
September.
I'd say end of the year,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
but
too.
I think it's coming. Some kind of a level increase is coming. I don't know if it's 90. I don't know if they're just going to give us the 100 or whatever, but there's got to be something coming.
Yeah.
The 100? You think we're going to jump from 85 to 100 potentially?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Hard to say, but
Look, it
I
likes to be
I think
controversial.
it's going to be needed. It's going to probably be needed for GOTB alone. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right.
Okay. Next question for Warrior. And the question is from Solar Warden. And the question is 18-star GOTB guild, 4 million GP player. Do I gear Separatists or do I forget about them for 2 months and gear Old Ben, Crew, Night Sister Spirit, Range Trooper, and Django? I will get Padme to 7-star.
So, what I hear is do a bunch of randoms that are important, or finish off a team that's good enough. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's essentially the question.
Yeah, I would actually do all the randoms. The more viability you have from more characters, the more likely you are to have more counters, more capability, especially if you're already there with getting the character you need. You can always go back and touch a team up and make them better over time. But I feel like diversity at this point is more important with certain key characters, and you listed certain key characters. So yeah, if it was me, I'd probably diversify.
All right. Next question to the apprentice's father.
All right, Xylo from Ikra Seldnar. Since Malik has not shown yet, do you think he will show after or around the same time as the next Jedi Knight Revan event?
Well, the next Jedi Knight Revan is in less than 5 days now, right? So
Yeah.
So I really think that the whole cause and effect to Malik has been the fact that his event was pushed back originally. So the original date already is misleading. And then he also returned earlier than 3 months. So I feel like after the Malik or after the Jedi Knight Revan event probably makes the most sense, because one is a requirement for the event. And so they're giving people last minute chance to get the light side half, which is the difficult side, right? Dark Revan just passed. I feel like everything was kind of shuffled out of order a little bit more, just to kind of make precedence for the Malik event. So I think it makes more sense than anything right now that, he's a week and a half at most away, because they're already giving you the time to get everything together, get the resources together, and everybody's already assuming that he's coming. So I think it'll be this week, maybe next weekend. I mean, it just makes sense of an event.
All right. Next we go to the sexy Buddha. He's drinking coffee.
All right. Loki, question from Paparazzi. What are the standing orders from your guild to farm to do better in GOTB? Are they being told to focus on droids or geos first?
I believe it's droids first, and then it's separatists. Or I'm sorry, it's droids and then it's geos. There was somebody, was it Hoth Ski Patrol? They put out that cool little chart on Reddit, I think yesterday. So, that's a pretty good, little roadmap to what you need to farm for GOTV. But Warren and I are in the same guild, and a lot of us already have everything built. So, at this point, I think for us, we're just polishing off the Gear 12s, Gear 13s, and the Zetas and stuff like that. But check on Reddit for that little chart thing, because I saw it yesterday. I thought it was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah, they did a great job with that Hoth Ski Patrol. That's a great chart there.
All right. And we go round and round we go. Back up to Warrior.
Okay. So Warrior, question from What Else 73. Do you think light side GOTB will be easier or tougher than the dark side GOTB?
It will be more difficult. If you know, the light side came out, it was 45 stars, and it was decent, and then the dark side came out and was 48 stars, and it was even harder to actually win. Plus, people realized they didn't have very good dark side rosters. So they had developing characters, and that's when they really started pushing hard to like rework a bunch of dark side and stuff, which was cool. But I think before the light side TB gets released, I think it's going to be more difficult, and I think we're going to get the level 90 increase before. And I've been calling for a level cap increase for a super, super, super long time. Kind of expected it to happen actually last year, and it never did. But now that they've introduced level 94 characters that we have to go against, that are, Gear 13, level 94, that can kill you in one AoE, I think it's almost a necessity for them now to introduce that level cap increase. But it's just crazy. What else 73 with the power creep, don't you agree?
Power creep is real. It's not fake, it's real. Alright. And we keep going around the circle of life to Xylo Takedown.
Okay, so Xylo, I'll give you two questions here because one is kind of a simpler one. So the first one, TNT Gaming. How many credits roughly do you think it will cost to go from level 85 to level 90?
Over 9,000?
I think at least like 6 to 8 mil. I mean, like they're gonna make it deep, right? Like it's like what, like I think it's like 4.5 to like 5 mil, something like that, to get from 80 to 85. So it's like double that basically. I mean, like they're not gonna make it cheap, and they're gonna make it so you can't just sell a bunch of mods and win a GW and round a character up from 85 to 90, right? Like they want to make it a little more of a deeper pass.
Okay. And then your next question from Paparazzi. Are we going to get to only do dark side GOTB if we want, or is it going to alternate like with hot TB?
No, that's the one you have to pick. Yeah, you have to either pick which territory battle you're going to be doing, right? Like you have to go all in on Geo or go back to Hawk, one or the other. That's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be able to do GOTB, the dark side GOTB, with either Hoth battle. So yeah.
All right.
So,
next to the Magic the Gathering demon himself, Sir Loki.
Okay. So Loki, question from Brian Ageson. Question: why do you think Malik hasn't come back around?
I just think they're busy with other stuff. They're busy with, making sure
they don't like
GOTB
us. Just say it, Loki.
It could be that too.
No.
I don't know. I've noticed there's just a bunch of stuff that hasn't been coming back around. So I mean, I don't know when the last credit heist was, but it's been a while.
19 days now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, man. But no, I think seriously, they have their little schedules that I guess they're sticking to. I don't know if it's time yet for Malik to come back. I'm sure they don't want people to be complaining, for the first time around. Hey, I've only had him for, whatever X amount of months and came back too fast. So,
Well, they did that with Revan, so I mean, he came back early,
I know. Well, maybe they don't want to do that anymore. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we keep getting asked this all the time. Like, when's Mela coming? All we can do is guess. Really, it's CG's schedule. We're just living in it. So
yeah, I just think maybe they're spreading out the panic farming or whatever farming. Because I mean, we were all overwhelmed with GOTB now with all that panic farming and Gear 13 and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm sure he's come back soon though.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, my response now is soon TM. I don't know. I thought it was going to be last Friday, and then when that didn't happen, well, surely it must come out this Friday. It'd be perfect July 4th weekend, yada, yada, yada. No, at this point, I have no clue. So it'll come when it comes, guys. We don't know. CG doesn't tell us. So, every time I get asked that question, I'm like, soon TM. So, all right.
Let me go back really quick to Paparazzi's last question to Xylo.
Mm-hmm.
So the question she was asking Xylo was, do you think we're going to alternate between light side and dark side GOTB once light side comes out, or would we be just able to do dark side GOTB over and over again?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now. Like, is there going to be a light side GOTB to alternate to, or
yeah,
are they going to be forced to do light side Hawk?
No. When light side GOTB comes back, right? Are you going to have to alternate between light side and dark side GOTB, or could you just do dark side GOTB the whole time if you wanted?
I mean, I think they're going to have it's kind of like a join phase, right? For TB now, like that's the point where you're either picking one or the other. So, I mean,
they'll likely alternate.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think it's going to be a while again until light side comes around anyway. So, I mean, you're going to have to alternate, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is for the entire panel, so you guys can kind of just chime in if you're seeing this. So the question is from Darsion 1972, and he says, for the panel, since GOTB, our alliance of guilds have had numerous people quitting over TB. I love the difficulty. Have your guilds had people leave? Also, what is the best way to replace retiring members?
Well, I can speak. Real quick for me and Stonehenge Jedi over there in MC. We always shuffle people on the bottom of our roster, but that's just because it's mainly people that are moving to up or down to a different part of MC. But as in people that have retired or anything, no. In fact, people are more engaged with GAC and with Darkside Geo than really engaged. People in the guilds are like just committed to it. I don't know if it's kind of been my sense with the officers and everything, and MC, MW, Stoner.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, like even before the TB, like we saw, we were trying to get things in order for TW and get the ranks and the weeds shuffled right. But now it's like who can work with us more of a beneficial collective, right? Like we're looking for people with not just the right GP, but the right, dark side pieces and, the separatists ready to go. And, there's a lot of variables now and there's a lot to work towards. So it just opens room for the people who are more focused,
Warrior and Loki, have you guys seen anything in TI in terms of any kind of attrition due to TB or just regular attrition?
Regular attrition. At the highest end, you get the most extremist. I mean, people go, hey, I've been playing this for 3 years and I've spent, $250 on this game and I'm frustrated now. And it's like, there's a guy that spent $250,000 and now he's frustrated. So, it's all relative. So, with the highest end, you compress the stress, right? Everything is more stressful about it. There's also greater rewards. to the greater risk, but that's just the way it works. And so, we see attrition. We've seen it since I started the game. There was attrition. People were quitting 6 months in, a year in, a year and a half in, 2 years in. And it's funny, every time something new comes out, someone's like, that's the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And maybe that's true for them, but there's always new, fresh blood coming in and new individuals playing the game. And there'll always be someone that's just now becoming part of the highest in individuals, are getting this or that. So I haven't seen anyone be like, oh, GOTB, that's it, I'm done, I quit, personally anyway.
Yeah, and I can say for my guild, GOTB may have actually helped prevent any kind of attrition. The content had been stale for so long, and our guild is, and again, it's important that you find a guild that matches the way that you want to play, right? And I think our guild is more invested in the PvE kind of team aspects of the game. There's obviously several players that prefer like the PvP and stuff, but we all come together for those PvE content. And Sith Raid has been the latest thing, and it had been kind of stale. What we were doing at this point was just kind of pushing towards dark side 48 stars. We got to 47 stars, and then GOTB launched. But even going for 48 stars was just feeling repetitive, and it wasn't really that engaging. GOTB really did help engage our guild a little bit more. So it actually may have helped my guild to get players more involved again after a whole period of, I would say, basically complacency, just kind of doing hot TB. You're basically sticking on auto now. It's just ridiculous. So mine is kind of the opposite experience than Darsion, which is it helped my guild. So, okay. So next question for Mr. Warrior from Paparazzi. With Grand Arena Championships right around the corner, can you remind us all if characters are locked between sets of 3 or not? I'm a bit confused by it.
Yeah, so there is a join period where you need to join and you got to get in or you can't play. And then after that, you will have an opportunity to see your first opponent and all of that. Once your mods lock for the championship of that round, those 3 battles, it's locked for those 3 opponents. Like that entire group of 8 people, once that the 3 battles starts and you start getting the battles, the set placement and battles and set placement and battles and it's all the same from the beginning. It locks in. And from what I read, they have fixed it. For a while, they had an issue where you could set all of your best mods on defense, and then you could go into your offense, strip your defensive mods off, put them on your offensive characters, and it would still work, which apparently Darth Microtransaction made a video about showcasing how to break the game. So anyway, but apparently they fixed that, so that's good. But no, it's locked for the entire duration of it. And I only know this because I know certain characters like, your Geo Brood Alpha, and you barely unlock it on the first day of Grand Arena and you can't use it, and you can't use it the entire time because it doesn't exist in your roster that entire time. Or you have something 5 stars that you promote to 6 stars and it's still 5 stars. Or you put on a Zeta and it shows it without a Zeta. So you can see very clearly during your Grand Arena Championships that what confuses people, I think, is when you actually go to do a battle, it shows you what you actually have. But when you're just looking at your roster, it shows you what you currently have. If you're just glancing at one of your opponents, you'll see a bunch of Gear 13 and you're like, oh, holy Lord, I got to go against that. But then you go in and they're all Gear 12 that you're going against. Why? Because it locked prior to Gear 13 kind of thing. So you really can't go just willy-nilly look at those opponents and guess how they're doing from that. I mean, it's a sort of an okay idea, but it will be different than the lock potentially, because what you're seeing when you click on their name and go to their roster is actually not what they locked in at, but what they currently in that very moment have. So that might be where some of the confusion comes from.
All right. Next question for Xylo Takedown from Paparazzi. How are you liking the fixed Zeta mat drop? And what do you think about if they fixed Omega mat drops too?
I mean, like, Omegas come naturally for me. I mean, once you get to that point, it's like you round up Omegas with your Zetas and doing that in between. So, I mean, I'm not really feeling the Omega crunch as the community is, but I mean, like, everybody's game and RNG is different too. So, I mean, Omega rates can always be tweaked too as well. I wouldn't be opposed to it. And then for the Zeta mats, I feel like it's also like not as good of an investment like long term because like you get the one Zeta guaranteed, right? But like it feels like less potential to get more than 2 or 3. You know what I mean? I'm liking the guaranteed drop because you can't go wrong with guaranteed. It's just like mods when they did or did not drop your energy. So I mean, I think it's a good thing. I would just like to see more guaranteed higher drops too as well. I mean, like that's kind of unfair to ask for. You know what I mean? Like I want more Zetas on an RNG basis. You know what I mean? Like I think it's okay and it can always be added to the Omegas.
We have to fix your mic, Xylo. People are having a hard time hearing you.
I know. I'm sorry.
You have to like yell next time when it comes to your question. Just yell really loudly into your mic.
All right, I will.
All right. Next question for Mr. Sir Loki. Sith Lord 72. Does anyone think CG is delaying Malik return to make GOTB more difficult so most guilds can't fill most of the platoons in phase 3 and 4? I have enough get to saved to 7-star him almost immediately.
It's a good point. I mean, they're a good team. The Sith Empire, a good team, and you got the platoons and all that. So, I just, again, going back to that earlier question, I just think there's just too much stuff to do right now, and I don't think they dropped the ball, but I mean, they got their schedule and they're sticking to it. So that's what I think.
Soon TM.
do you think there's a reason for their schedule though? With regards to GOTB, like, do you think they're actually doing it to prevent people from filling up platoons if they don't already have it?
Man, I mean, I can put my, I can put my business cap on and say, yeah, they're not releasing Malik because he's a freebie and they want you to spend money on GOTB. So, I mean, I could say that too, but I just really think they have a schedule that they're sticking to, and unfortunately, it's Malik's turn to, you got to patiently wait for him, and again, it's soon. I mean, hopefully, he'll be out next month or something like that. But I think right now they have a schedule that they're sticking to, and they're doing it. They're making. Unfortunately, the people that couldn't get them the first time. I mean, we're all suffering a little bit, So, but I just think there's too much stuff that they're doing, and there was too much stuff to release, and they didn't want to take away from the other. From the other new game mode and the features and all that. So.
Am I the only one in the panel that's suffering without Malik right now? I think I am. And I am suffering.
10-4. That is a big 10-4 fan of day.
Me and Scissorman. Right? Scissorman doesn't have Malik, right, Warrior?
Oh yeah, Scissorman has Malik. I'm just kidding. No, I don't have those guys, but I'm not suffering because I don't care. So
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to do endgame, so it suffers a little bit for me. I can do everything in arena and stuff that I have Darth Revan now, but yeah. No Malik. I want Malik. All right. So Warrior, next question for you from Paparazzi. Why do you recommend a fast, tenacious Malik?
Well, tenacity, the way this works in the game, no, I'm just kidding. Tenacity is just really great because especially the teams you're going against are mostly mirror matches. And so you've got, a bunch of debuffs coming your way, just a ton of them. And if your tenacity is really high, 80% of those debuffs don't apply. And it slows down the progression of killing your Malik. And so they don't hurt him quite as bad. And one of the things they do is, they'll put like exposes, they'll stun him, they'll put, shock on him. If you can keep him from getting shock and stuff, he still gets, his regeneration. Because if they get shock on him and stuff, he can heal himself, but he doesn't actually heal himself. And then they can keep whittling him down. And so you don't want that. So, but if they try to apply shock and it doesn't apply, every time he does his heal, he actually heals himself, provided he's not, targeting the other Malik. Um, and so that's helpful because it slows down the natural progression of his death if he's not, and if you can't beat him, join him type thing, if you can't be faster than everybody, then you really need tenacity, significant amounts of tenacity. And then speed is actually, everyone listening, this is your reward for anyone that wants the real truth and everyone on the panel. An unbeatable Revan team. I shouldn't even tell people this, but some people already know, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But if you have the top 2 speed sets in your arena, if you have the top 2 speed sets, you can unequivocally win on offense and defense and never lose, guaranteed. But you got to have the top 2 speed sets. If you have those, then you put number 1 speed set on your Malik, and you put your number 2 speed set on Revan, Darth Revan, and you're unbeatable. And the reason is Malik so fast speed is important with him. He slides across the board like Michael Jackson, and he slams Sith Trooper and dispels all the Sith Trooper's buffs. That's the first thing he does with the AI or with you. That's what you always do. Just immediately thereafter, Darth Revan gets to go number 2, and he jumps, and he always targets the leader. Always. If it's the AI, and if you're playing, you should be smart enough to do that as well. And if you do, and you hit the leader, everybody on the other side loses a turn. And then you get to do everything with all your characters, regardless of speed. So all you need is 2 speed sets that are faster than the rest of your people on your leaderboard. Strip everything from everyone and build the 2 biggest sets. Malik dispels, and then you get to hit their leader, and all of a sudden it's just destruction. And I got a guy on my leaderboard. He has 2 speed sets faster than my 2 speed sets. I cannot beat him. Physically impossible. I've tried over and over and over and over. The only way is the tweaks I got to bring in Yoda and blah, 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 bull crap, which is annoying. I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to play a mirror match and win. So interesting that, 2 speeds, it comes down to having 2 speed sets faster than everybody else, and victory is yours. But that's why speed's important. Speed is important because the faster Malik goes, the faster he takes the taunt off, and the faster the taunt is removed, the faster you can start targeting whoever you want or allowing the AI to target whoever they want.
All right. That is science. All right. Next question, Finn. What do you got?
All right. So Xylo, question for Xlor Bin Tagger. So I'm sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing that name, so I apologize. What do you think of the fact that you can farm and buy Gear 13 pieces already? I really wish they made it exclusive for GA and TB rewards for a couple of weeks or months first.
Well, I mean, I'm more
louder.
I'm more surprised they didn't monetize it instantly. I mean, the fact that they made it free to play, which is huge, I think it was a way to kind of cool off people like us that were like, oh, well, Gear 13 is only going to be monetized, and the people at the top end of Grand Arena Championships are going to be the only people getting this new gear, and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I think it's a good thing to monetize because it creates accessibility for anyone to grab access to it, right? So, I mean, even if you're not doing the best in Grand Arena, you can still purchase it. I mean, they should have did a smarter route to breaking the packs down to $35 for a full piece, right? As opposed to $100 pack. But they want people to go all in on their purchases. And they want to reward the people who are purchasing and spending the money too as well. So you got to think from a perspective that they need a way to make money. And I mean, and the separation even at the top tier, I'm at 4.8 million GP right now, and I'm noticing the separation right now between players like Warrior and Loki and myself, because the pay to play players are creating this new layer, and I think that the sooner that got monetized, it would create this gap, and I think it's best for the game right now. And honestly, I wish I would have seen some more separate packs, or some more valuable packs for people who are casual spenders or looking for an exclusive piece specifically. I mean, and I think there's going to be more ways of them monetizing it. I mean, look at all the new packs that have come out, like the $8 pack. They're trying new things with the marquee mega packs too as well. So I really think that it's a good thing for the game. And they need to find other ways to monetize it too, as well, from the lower end too.
Okay. Next question for Mr. Sir Loki. What else 73? What do you do if you get crap speed mods compared to everyone else in your arena and will end up with less than 300 speed Darth Revan team?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I think you just kind of, it's kind of like what Warrior said earlier. I mean, if you're gonna go for the mirror match, you have to tag in Grandmaster Yoda and go that way, and see if you can get around the speed battle. But it's annoying. I mean, it's the real deal. We made a comment earlier. Are there people quitting because of GOTD? But I mean, I've seen people quitting because they don't got speed mods anymore. So I've seen it that way, and there's ways around it, but it's annoying, right? So I just say, stick with the game, stick with your plan, and there's really nothing you can do other than try to farm new mods and gear them up, and slice them. So it's hard to say, man. I'm not in that boat, and I feel you because I had a lot of my friends quit just because they couldn't get mods anymore, and that's a real deal.
Yeah, mods are nice, but they are definitely breaking some people with the bad RNG.
Well, yeah, yes, depression.
God, it's
Every day, just depression.
All right. So Warrior question from Daniel McCracken. Next Zeta priority: HK's second Zeta, Bosk's second Zeta, Chewie's loyal friend for Gear 10 CLS MILF, or save for a mid-gear 5-star plus Traya squad.
So many delicious choices. I honestly, you can't underestimate the Traya squad. Those are amazing Zetas, all 3 uniques in her lead. Those 4 are great, but honestly, they're on the back burner for me as well, even on my Scissorman account. The question on the Chewie is Chewie 7 stars or 5 stars, to Gear 10, I think, and it was for his MILF, which will help the MILF be more. See, this is the thing with MILF. The ship at 5 stars with like Gear 9 and Gear 10 characters honestly sucks. It's not even worth having in your lineup. You got to get the characters to like Gear 11. You got to have their Zetas. You got to have it 5 to 7 stars, and then all the abilities for the ship itself actually maxed out for you to start seeing some viability. Otherwise, you can't even shoot through ships fast enough, and the opposings will destroy you. I mean, I would be leaning a little bit towards Chewie just because of that, and it sounds like he's got the rest of the Rebels pretty good. But there's so many good choices. It's like, hey, do you want ice cream, or ice cream? I'm like, I don't know. I can have some ice cream. That's kind of what I'm hearing when I hear that question.
Now I want ice cream, and
maybe I'm just hungry.
I know. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning for me, and now I want ice cream. Thanks, Warrior. All right.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
That's right.
Science.
Yeah, the regeneration of protection and health and stuff from Chewie is probably, for Rebels, going to be a significant advantage in things to come for everything that he said. Although Treya's, it's the same thing with Treya's lead. So, I don't know. That's so difficult. But I would just throw it in my hat into Chewie, I guess, just for the ship.
All right.
All right. Next question.
Xylo question from Ed Squeed. Which faction do you think wins most from Gear 13 boost?
Ice cream.
Hooray!
Yay!
Gear 13 Rocky Road.
Rocky Road, communist.
I'm more of a Moose Tracks kind of guy, you know what I mean? Like peanut butter, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Really, it's Cherry Garcia, but I didn't want to go too overboard there.
I think the most boosted faction, man, that's a tough one. I'd have to say the droids. I mean, the Grievous boost and like the fact that he's been able to kind of just put around like a hodgepodge group around him, and then he just takes off, right? I mean, I think that's so interesting, and not even just the droids in general. I mean, like All right, so let's reference some other droids. Then C3PO is getting a huge statistic boost. So I mean, he's going a lot faster and he's doing his thing more often. R2D2 is one of the best characters in the game too, as well. So he's getting a little extra boost, and depending on where you run him in CLS or JTR comp, BB-8 makes that team that much faster too. And the Separatist droid team in general, I feel like I haven't seen the whole Gear 13 team, but I imagine it'd be pretty nasty, right? I mean, and the fact that Grievous in general, his damage just ramping up to the fact that he can AoE that whole Darth Revan team, kind of like we were seeing with Jedi Knight Anakin, while he was like a nesting doll, right? And I mean, they did say, back in March last year, I think it was, when they were like previewing Boss, that the droids would have their time in the meta at some point, and you still have to do a lot to get the team to that point, and get Grievous to Gear 13 alone is a feat in the game. I'm still working on the 2 Gear 12 plus pieces for him. So I mean, the character himself alone, I think, got the biggest boost to Gear 13 because of the AoE damage and everything like that, and his health pool rising up so high. But overall, the droids just are like one of those factions like Rebels and Jedi and Scoundrels that have so much depth that also flex into other game modes, right?
All right. Next question to the lover of lightsabers, Loki.
All right. So for Loki, question from Zach Nielsen: who's better to take to Gear 13, Yoda or Jedi Knight Revan?
Oh.
I think at this point, if you have an issue climbing an arena, take Yoda, just so you can get more speed on him. Jedi Knight Revan, I don't know. I haven't seen much of a difference. There's a few guys actually on my shard that did it, and I don't know. I don't see a big difference. I think there's pieces on that Jedi Knight Revan team that you can take to Gear 13 first, before you actually take Jedi Knight Revan. I mean, you just get the extra speed, which is totally fine, but I think there's other pieces in that team that probably need it before he does. One of them is probably Grandmaster Yoda. So,
yeah, and I mean, if I can throw my hat in here real quick, you can use the Grandmaster Yoda team or Grandmaster Yoda in the Darth Revan team too as well, and still see value out of it. So you got 2 different teams you can utilize them in, or the Padme team. So it's 3 teams you can use them in, and then I've talked to a couple of friends that did Jedi Knight Revan first, and they said that they would have wished they did Jolee or Grandmaster Yoda first. So just those 2 pieces, like Jolie's health boost alone, makes it so much more survivable and so much more annoying. But that's just from other people.
All right. Sir Loki has spoken, so let it be done. Back up top we go.
All right, Warrior, question from Utah: what are the top 5 best defensive squads for Grand Arena Championships?
Some variants. There's quite a bit of debate on that, but I mean, like, some of the obviously best of the best is going to be Darth Revan or Revan. Both of those are still amazing. And regular Revan, a lot of people use on offense, but it's a great defensive squad. In fact, it'll really surprise your opponents if they see both Revans. That's always frustrating. If you go through the first Revan and then you find the second Revan in the back, you're like, oh, that sucks. So there's that. Of course, the Padme team on defense is difficult to beat. There's only certain team comps that you can use because a lot of the teams that you would use actually do multiple attacks, multi-assist, which just makes that team nearly invincible. And so that's difficult to kill. The Grievous team is tough to kill if it's double zated, for sure. And it's devastating with Gear 13. I don't even know. I don't even think my counters will work anymore. So that'll be interesting. And the Night Sisters are a solid defense, and this is why. Night Sisters, even before Gear 13, at a minimum, if somebody beat them, you're not getting full points.
No.
You're just not. It's not going to happen. So it's a good way of just knowing that you're going to be reducing the point score of your opponents. And sometimes people get tripped up on Night Sisters. They're funny. On one battle, you can use a counter and it works successfully and you're like, oh, that's a good counter. And then the next time you go against somebody else's team and maybe they have the Zeta on DACA, and you didn't think it was a big deal, and all of a sudden, because of that Zeta, you can't, your counter does not work. I think Gear 13 is going to be like that. I think there's going to be a key Gear 13 DACA, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to use my counter I'm 100% successful on. Go in and you're going to lose, and you're going to go, what the hell? And you'll have primed that team, and you will not get past it at that point. You'll have used your counter, and it'll be primed with turn meter, and you're going to go in and you're going to watch them take like 400 turns, killing 3 of your characters before you even get a turn, and you'll just, throw your phone against the wall. So those teams are probably the best. The Revens, Padme, Grievous, Night Sisters. CLS is still an awesome defensive team, even though most use them on offense. Just because, if you've ever gone against CLS on when it's on defense, it's for territory wars at the highest end. That is our ultimate FU to another team, is to put the CLS in like the back wall. They work through the entire thing, and then in the very last node, you see Mighty Wallace does this too, and it's terrible when we encounter this. And you see CLS sitting back there like, hey guys, I'm here to destroy your
Remember,
day.
I used to be meta once upon a time.
Yeah, and these guys are no joke. Everyone's modded these guys correctly, and it this is one of the oldest meta teams out there. So, and the damage output is astronomical. And so if you don't go in with the perfect counter and play it right and take your time, you can lose. And if you prime that team, give it up. You're not going in there. You better just take in 5 different IPD teams to finish it off, because that's just the way it works. So, and a lot of times when you get into territory wars, the further you get, we take our time, right? We're like phase 1, we got like next 4 to 6 hours. Let's clear that first node. By the end of it, it's like people are going to bed, and we're like still a few nodes away. Well, then you wake up in the morning. There's only like 3 hours left, and everyone's freaking out because you got a CLS back wall, and you're like, oh my god, guys, wake up! Like, we gotta clear this. Now you're in a stress mode and freaking out mentally, and all of a sudden you got to do counters. You're trying to read 100 comments to figure out who's using what and what's working and what's not, and who got hit. It's a really, really, really solid team for GAC or for territory wars. Those are probably the best. But what people put on defense, mostly that are solid teams, are going to be smugglers, scoundrels, and bounty hunters. Those are bottom line the best defensive style team. Most of those teams with bounty hunters, first order is in there too, but really bounty hunters has regenerative health and protection, smugglers has regenerative health protection, scoundrels have regenerative health and protection. And because of that, Old Republic has regenerative health and protection. All of those types of teams are great for defense because you have to take meta to beat them, and they are very, very durable, and they're kind of a check stop. If you can beat them, you got to use meta. If you don't use meta, you're not beating them. And so it just kind of forces people to use certain team comps on offense to win. So those are the best ones, are the ones I just mentioned on last. But the best ones genuinely are the teams most people are using on offense.
All right. Next question for the Force training dummy, Stoner Jedi.
All right. Xylo, question from Paparazzi. Should I start hoarding all of my credits for level 90 now?
Yes. I keep telling myself to do this personally, and mods are just so focused right now. I'm spending myself into a hole. I feel like if I could owe on credits, I would at this point. You know what I mean? If I could take a loan on credits at this point. But I think getting up to a good 20, 30 million right now makes a lot of sense. Getting that saved up and putting that in your back pocket for later and acting like it's not there. You've seen plenty of content creators or other players too that are saving up over 100 million right now. Not to reference any names, Ranger, Fremon, you know what I mean?
I'm amazing.
So that's a lot of focus, and then it takes a lot of time, and it's something that you should get to going on right now, because this will create more layers and more focus in the game too, because you can start rounding up those teams that you actually use on a daily basis. And if for someone like me who's fluffed up this whole roster and has a full roster of characters that are all level 85, gear 7 or higher, it's going to create room for separation, right? So I can round up all the teams that I actually use for GA and Territory Wars for those characters to go up to the level 90 or level 100 or whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I'd say get a good 20, 30 million credits together just to sit on them, act like you don't have them. And then same with fleet too, the negotiator, get a good 10 mil credits for the fleet table. You don't have those, then spend them on the negotiator when the time comes.
Yeah. All right, next question for not the dark side, but the light side, Loki.
All right. So Loki, question from Rubber Duck Mafia. I only have one Mark V thermal detonator. Should I use it for Gear 12 Bosk, or get my Sith Marauder to Gear 10, who I could take straight to Gear 11 afterwards? I'm taking first in fleet with Houndstooth, barely scratching the top 20 in Squad Arena.
I mean, what team are you going to run Marauder in, though? That's the issue.
I'm assuming Darth Revan, but...
Yeah, but I mean, if you're barely scratching he's having a hard time with Squad Arena? Is that what it sounded like?
Yeah, barely scratching top 20 in Squad.
Yeah, I don't think Marauder's going to get you there, though, honestly. At least I don't think so. I think you can still get up there with Sith Trooper as the 5th if you have all the other 5 pieces, but you can't go wrong with Bosk, man. I mean, seriously. I know you're doing well in Ship Arena, but it's Gear 12 Bosk. It's just that good. And as Warrior hinted out earlier, was you're going to use Bosk in Grand Arena more than you're going to use Marauder. I mean, Marauder's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good in that Darth Revan lineup, but you need all the pieces, to get it going. He's probably the last piece you want to gear up before, you need to get Revan, you need to get Malak, you got to get all the other pieces to Gear 12 ASAP, and then you can get Marauder going. So the boss piece, I don't think you're ever going to regret doing right now, especially getting him to Gear 12. So again, I don't know what the arena team is, but if you want to, message us, offline in the Discord, please do, and we can help you out more. But my vote right now is Bosk.
All right. Guess what? It's time for another question for Warrior.
All right. Warrior, question from Utah. When modding tanks that will be used in Grand Arena Championship and Territory Wars, is health or protection more important?
Well, it depends on the tank. There are some tanks that have health-related attributes and some tanks that have protection. Most protection properties are actually protection properties. Only the protection up is based off of health or whatever. So most of the time, it's better actually with tanks to go protection. Plus, protection you can get significantly more of than health most of the time. It's really easy to stack a ton of protection on a tank because, and this is why, tanks statistically tend to have a much higher base protection stat than offense, or than health stat offense. What the hell am I thinking? Than health. So health would be 25,000 or 30,000, and then protection is 35 or 40,000. Just statistically, looking across the board on all tanks, they have a much higher protection. But when you take a percentage of something and you times it by a lower number versus a higher number, your higher number is going to be the bigger of the percentage. And protection's percentage and protection percentage is higher than health percent. Even with health at 16% on a 6E mod, it's still almost 10% less than a normal protection mod without 6E. So it is of my mind, if you're going to go with protection, or if you're going to go with a tank, most of them would benefit greatly from protection primaries, which creates this humongous shell. In addition, the game just went out and put in through all of the characters huge protection bumps, and there was a number of tanks in that list that got protection bumps as well. So it's even more viable to go protection now. They almost brought that stat back a little bit off the brink, because we almost saw everyone shifting straight to health because of 6E mods and because of health benefits. But there are a couple of teams where the tank would benefit more from health. For example, Padme team, General Kenobi. You want to load General Kenobi down with as much health as humanly possible because of her lead. So that's an exception to the rule, but the majority of tanks, yes, benefit greater from a protection than from the health. One of them that a lot of people are putting health on that I actually find funny that they're doing this is Malik. They're putting a ton of health on Malik, and that is terrible because
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, his protection is huge to begin with, and then you can take the percentage, which is huge, and make it massive, and then of course he converts all protection to health. So you're putting half as much health on, or you could put twice as much protection that converts to health, which creates twice as much health. So to me, it doesn't make any sense to have a health primary unless it's got like the God mod, secondary stats. Otherwise, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like for his speed with secondaries protections, right? But even then, like, it depends on the protection percentage on that. I'm with you, War. I've seen some. I'm like, why? I mean, like mine right now is like almost 190,000. GP and health combined, which is 190,000 health. Why would you go health sets and not protection? I don't get it.
I will say, really quick side note, also on Malik, you put a crit damage triangle on him, and thank me later. Just put a crit damage triangle on him. I had a guy on my leaderboard, same guy that's smashing the hell out of me on all my attempts. But his Malik always hits mine for over 150k, and I was just like, "What the hell?" I was stripping his mods. It's like, what is he doing? And the only difference between mine and his was I wanted all that extra protection conversion, so I had a protection triangle. He had a crit damage triangle, and I was like, that kind of seems weird. Crit damage on a tank, but whatever. Well, he always crits with his his 3 buffs that he gives himself. He's always gonna crit after that. And with ferocity and all that. So I switched to a crit damage triangle, and all of a sudden, my entire leaderboard is like, "What the hell did you do to your Malik? Because he's hitting for 160k, 90k on his basic. What's going on?" And it's like, oh, it does work. So if you have Malik out there, put that crit damage triangle on him. You will not regret it.
Yeah, when I took your advice and went over to like a tenacity build, and he still got a good chunk of protection, but his triangle is a 60 tenacity crit damage triangle. And his basic's hitting like 30-40k like right off the bat. Like he's hitting like a truck. I mean, like I'm really impressed with the faster tenacity build, and then again that crit damage triangle is just amazing.
All right, next question, Finn.
Okay. Next question for Xylo. Question from What Else 73. Are there any particular tweaks or changes you'd like to see made with light side GOTB based on what happened in dark side?
Like adjustments or like anything different in general? I mean, I'm kind of curious to see like how we're gonna get like the opposition. Like
Okay, now I can barely hear you, Xylo.
Like a tank. Can you hear me? Hello.
You're really quiet, like even more quiet than before.
Yeah. Here, hold on. Let me try something quick. How about now? Much better? A little better? Yeah.
Not really. Ranger, I don't know. Your end is streaming. I can barely hear.
I can barely hear him.
Here, I just took the mic off. How's that?
Much better.
Yeah, that's much better.
So I think I'm really curious to see like how they give us like summons for like how they did with the droids, like if they're gonna summon like other clones or anything like that. And then adjustments, I'm again thinking like noting back to maybe more stars. They're gonna add more characters too. Like we've seen a lot of characters, so we got to figure out which ones we're gonna be getting that will need requirements, and then which ones are NPCs. And then I think that there's not much to adjust because of the difficulty and how it was tiered, and it's something to aim for. So I think that they hit the nail right on the head with the dark side. So I think there's not much to adjust. I mean, the platoons are going to be what platoons are. I mean, there's no change in that, unfortunately. And I mean, maybe a bigger map perhaps, and that'll lead up to bigger stars, because obviously like the time aspect, I hope they keep the time aspect, like giving more time to the geo map, because it takes so much more coordination for officers and the guild itself to make the right moves. And I hope that they stick with that as an adjustment, and then yeah, just keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that it's not going to be as bad of a bloodbath.
All right.
All right. Next question is for you, Finn. I see that one.
Yep. So Paparazzi asked me, based on what I was saying earlier, how are you climbing an arena without Malik? So
Cheats. Let's just be real. He cheats in all the games he plays.
No. So it's more difficult now with Gear 13. And I know there's people that definitely have better mods than this, but I have 2 of the better speed sets on the Arena Shard. So against everyone except maybe like the top 5 or so, because my Fallen Bastila has a 157 and my Darth Revan has a 152. So for 2 sets, that usually keeps me in the running against most of my shard, and I can use Scion and Nihilus. There's definitely people with better, so I'm not saying they're the best, but they're fairly high compared to a lot of people. So it is unfortunately mods.
Science.
That's what's allowing me to do it. So
Science.
Next question for Loki, Darcy 1972, and then after this question, Ranger, I'll let you.
I got it. So this is the last call for questions, guys. After the next minute or 2, we're gonna actually just go put that in there, Finn. We're done collecting.
Yeah, I already switched the bot. So
okay, good. Okay, so we're
stop
collecting questions. Okay, good.
Yep. So question to you, Loki, from Darcion 1972, and the question is: now that GOTV has launched, 1, do you think we'll get a bunch of clone marquees next month? And 2, if not marquees, how do you think they will be or should be released?
I seriously think that the light side characters that we fought during GOTV are going to be the ones that we get. If there's going to be unlocks, if there's going to be, I guess, farmable pieces like Brood Alpha, maybe they throw a new clone or something in a cantina, or some kind of a requirement, right? And then I think a bunch of our clones will probably get reworks. It's been a while, I think, since they've done something with the existing clones. And then you finally get to use your Shock T, which they obviously released, and hopefully she goes free to play in time of when they flip the map. But I think seeing those characters in Darkside GOTB is a good preview of what you can probably expect to come. I'd love to see if they're going to make the young Padawan Anakin farmable, because that'd be kind of cool as well. I don't know if it's kind of redundant to the current Jedi Knight Anakin, but that would be kind of cool. But expect a mix of the current. I don't know if they went away from marquees or not. What was Padme a marquee, or was she legendary already? I can't remember. But
she was legendary.
Yeah, they did away with something. I don't know if they did away with marquees or what was Shock T? Shock T marquee, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, so they're probably going to continue that, and then they're going to make probably 1 or 2 of them farmable, and then they'll give reworks to the existing clones. That's going to be my prediction on that.
Well, to mention too, they did say that they were going to have like a chase event, right? But the chase event got canceled, so maybe the chase event character was Geofood Alpha, and then it changed over, so they made it straight free to play, and then that's how they're gonna present some of the clones or some of the new characters for the light side event for like a chase event character.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right.
What was the last chase? Was it Emperor, right? The Emperor shuttle?
Yeah, all the
on
ships,
the Ebon Hawk. Okay. Yeah,
still
that would be
done
kind
it
of frustrating though if they were like required, and it had to be a chase event. That'd be kind of frustrating. I think the player base would be kind of upset on that, because then you couldn't really get it the first time around if you just wailed hard on it,
Yeah. All right. Next question. We go back up top to Warrior from Rubber Duck Mafia. Question: I'm about to get boss to 7 stars and about to free up 100 to 200 energy a day. Should I farm Gear 12 finishers or finish up some characters that have been put on hold? For example, getting last year's on Sabine, etc.
I would keep going with characters that you need.
Yeah.
Gear 12 finishers are nice, but so this is the thing. Everyone thinks that those Gear 12 finishers are the bottleneck, and they're not. The bottleneck for Gear 13 is the Sith pieces. There's 50 Sith Raid pieces only. These are pieces, the salvage from the Sith Raid that you have to get 50 of. And if you're not placing top 10, you're getting 2, 6, maybe 8 if you're in the top 10 of those pieces. And which means you got to do a couple months worth of Sith Raids to get enough of that Sith Raid salvage to finish a Gear 12 piece. The only reason why a bunch of people got a bunch is because, one, they sold a bunch of pieces out there that was going to help, plus a number of people had some of those particular pieces of Sith Raid just stockpiled. But it's once it dwindles, the stockpile dwindles, we're all going to be stuck waiting for the Sith Raid to give us those. And knowing our luck, they'll probably take those specific pieces and drop the drop rates down on those and be like, I don't think they need those pieces quite as frequently as they were getting them. So let's change that from, 2 or 8 guaranteed to 2 guaranteed or something silly. I don't know. That's my paranoia. But so Gear 13 there's like this explosion of Gear 13, and then it's going to kind of dwindle, and it's going to be really slow progression after that, except for people in the top 10 of Sith Raid. Actually, Sith Raid is more important now than it ever was in the past for future progression. So for anyone that's out there, keep focusing on your Sith Raid teams. And the Gear 13 characters will make it easier and stuff too. But I would keep working on characters.
All right. Next question for you, Stoner, and kind of for everyone who wants to jump in. Darkseid 1972. Question for everyone. What's one thing you would like CG to implement to help all players with mods? I'm feeling the same depression as Ranger for over a month now. Depression.
It's just the mods. I mean, like, you can't really... There's no formula or strategy. They're all just randomized.
Yes, I don't know. Anybody can jump in.
I kind of stole a page from Warrior, except like I like looking for other stats now as opposed to just chasing speed primaries, because like when you're chasing speed primaries, the only thing you're looking for is speed, right? So like as opposed to matching all the speed primaries, I've been farming more health mods and looking for extra health stats for the Padme team and the Grievous team, right? So like flat health and health percentage, stuff like that, and like farming crit chance mods and looking for like good offense with speed, something to complement the speed stats too as well. So like if I don't hit the speed, I can utilize them on other mods. So like the crit chance mods, for example, I put a lot of crit chance on like my Canderous Ordo, so he's always critting and doing a lot of damage, a lot of offense. Same with like Greedo, like I got his crit chance over 100%, so that way he's gonna, take off and shoot 9 times. You know what I mean? So just look for other stats around it, and then the speed will come as you rolling. You know what I mean? As you're slicing.
If you're lucky, it's RNG, baby.
All numbers.
I mean, I don't know what CG can do at this point. Massive overhaul, but that would just infuriate everybody. So we're kind of stuck with what we got. All right, we're going to start with Loki for the next question, and it's kind of one for the panel, but your thoughts first, Loki. Question for the panel, so anybody can jump in after Loki. From Solar Warden, what do you use for offense and defense in Grand Arena Championship for fleet battles?
Offense in Grand Arena?
Yeah, so if we have fleet in Grand Arena, like what would you put on defense for your fleet, and then what would you put on offense? I mean, it's a pretty straightforward answer, but let me see if I got this right, Loki.
Yeah.
Keep your mill for offense, put your Chimera down with defense.
I mean, again, it depends on the opponent, I guess. So I scope out my opponent. Depending on what he's got, I could put MILF on defense. And then if I'm facing somebody who's, a lot whalier than me, then I might keep MILF on offense and then just put like a Mace Timeout team or something on defense. But again, I would scope out the opponent. If your MILF, I think, is in really good shape compared to theirs and all that, I would actually consider putting it on defense and then, overpowering their MILF with a Mace team or a Thrawn team or something like that.
All right. Back up top to Running with Scissor Man Warrior. Paparazzi question: when, if ever, do you think we'll be getting a 3v3 in ships in Grand Arena?
A 3v3 in ships and arena?
Yeah, those aspects that were in the like. So I think what she's
They kind of
asking.
already do that. Yeah, and that's where the whole theory came from for the original 3v3 for
Mm,
regular characters was there when they brought ships out initially, when they were doing like the test phase and stuff, they were telling us when we were visiting that they were bringing ships into the game and that they wanted to bring the ships 3v3 battles. And they got some feedback, not just from us, but from others, that 3v3 was probably not going to work out. They probably should go 5 versus 5. And so they did. They actually went to 5 versus 5, and so ships came out with 5 versus 5, and they just didn't like it. Battles took too long. It wasn't as precarious as they wanted it to be. They wanted it to be kind of on the edge, and so eventually they went back to the drawing board, went back to the original idea of 3 versus 3, and they love it. And I actually would tend to agree with them. You know, the 3 in the front with 4 in the back is better than the 5 in the front that we originally had. Less ships, more precarious, so on and so forth. So that's where that 3 versus 3 came out of, was that initial 3 versus 3 mentality. I don't see that happening in ships ever for the ship node. And the reason is, one, they care far less about ships, even though they say they do care about ships. The bottom line is they understand the community, and their community doesn't care about ships nearly as much. So people like me are farther and fewer between than people who care about regular characters. So their focus always will be 80-20, 80% on characters, 20% on ships. This is no more evident than what they just did with the ship, the Negotiator. That ship I will proudly unlock in 6 months on my main account. And by then it will probably no longer matter or even be a relevant ship to the thing. And we can't even test it. We have to farm it for 6 months without even knowing what it's capable of or if it's even worth anything. So,
I think what Paparazzi was asking, Warrior, is when are we going to see the 3 versus 3 and ships being brought back into the Grand Arena, or do you think it's just going to be 5v5 characters for the new Grand Arena Championships?
No, I think this new system now allows for them to do the ships, or Grand Arena with and without ships, like they were doing. Because they'll do is they'll weight your top 8 ships into that, and so you won't be counted against with all your ships, and you won't be counted against with all your characters. You're only going to be counted against with your top 8 ships, or your top 40 defensive characters, or so on and so forth, whatever. So I think the new weighting system is super fair. It's actually what I had suggested to them, and they said we have something in the works, so hopefully you'll be happy with what we're coming up with. And because I have as much GP in ships as I do in characters. A lot of people aren't like that. They've got 1 million in ships, and then they've got like 4 million or 3 million in their characters. But I was always disadvantaged by having a ships focus. And so this new weighting system allows for them to do it at all. And I think they're going to go back to rotational. The ones with ships will give you non-Zetaed stuff, and the ones without ships will give you Zetas, because they like to reward the non-ship ones with Zetas, because 80% of the people playing prefer non-ship battles. So I think it'll keep going the way it's been going.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with this next one with the exhibition. It's 5 weeks. Maybe they'll mix it up and stuff. Next question for Stoner. Paparazzi, how much speed do you put on your Grievous and your Magna Guard?
What was it? I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, the question was, why are you not listening and paying attention to Ranger when you were with Finn? It did not cut out. All right, Paparazzi, how much speed do you put on your Grievous and your Magna Guard?
Speed? Like none.
That was the question.
No speed. I mean, like anything, just flat health and health percentage. I mean, like, and then that's when you go for your health primaries. You look for the highest, like, flat health too. I mean, like, anything else is just a plus. So, like, tenacity, potency, crit chance, anything other than speed. I mean, like, there's so many other stats that benefit more than speed on the Grievous team. And I mean, like, if you do get a couple extra pieces that fall down on there, fine. You know what I mean? But, like, don't look for speed on that team. It's all turn meter generated with Grievous's lead and B2's unique Zetas. So once you have those 2 Zetas, the team just takes off, and the only thing you need to speed up is B1. I mean, if you get B1 in like the 260 range, that team just takes off, and B1 goes like 2 or 3 times before the team can even take a full turn. Like, it's disgusting.
All right. Next question for Loki the Lightsaber Builder. I lost my place here. Wait, what the hell happened here? Okay, there we go. Zach Nielsen, question. What are the most efficient ways to farm pieces of Gear 13? What pieces are worth spending shop currency on? What do you think, Loki?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I'm hoarding all my store pieces, I guess, right now, because you don't know what's coming down the line. But I mean, you can farm everything, but the Sith, what is it? Those HoloLenses, man. What do you call them? The Sith Raid pieces, right? You can farm everything else. I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're at in the game, but I would strongly suggest not to farm out of the stores right now, because they could drop something in the championship store and the new Guild Event Token 2 store. But to answer your question, I mean, you can farm everything but the Sith Raid finisher pieces. So, I mean, if I were you, I would get hooked up with an alt guild or something and do a lot of guild hopping to get some Sith Raids under your belt to get those pieces. But yeah, you just don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they put Negotiator already in the championship store, I guess, and or I'm sorry, Guild Event 2 store. So you gotta get that thing. I mean, I think that thing's gonna be meta, when it comes out, and then who knows what they're gonna put in the championship store as well. So I would farm what you can from the nodes. I'm pretty sure you can farm everything but the Sith Raid pieces, and then that's in the weekly store. So maybe just buckle down, get some first places in your arena, save up those crystals, and just buy those out of the weekly shipments or the weekly whale store.
All right. Next question, we go up top back to Warrior from Jew Cipher 912. Question: is it better to go to Gear 13 a single squad of 5, or to do 2 or 3 important tunes and multiple squads, or am I spreading myself too thin? What do you think?
Well, that's a debatable thing, but for me, I feel like it's key tunes on teams that really make a difference. And so, like with Malik's team, the 3 that I think that you need to do are Malik, Darth Revan, and Darkseid Bastila. And then, with the CLS team, I really think Han and Chewie need to be done. With Night Sisters, I really feel like Asajj and Old Daka really benefit greatly. Actually, Mother Talzin benefits greater than Asajj. With Padme, I really feel like Anakin and General Kenobi benefit greatest from that jump. So every team has 2 or 3 that benefit the greatest and or make them just that much better. And you got to remember any of your counters to those original teams. So if you think, you go, okay, someone's going to take their 3 Darth, the Darth Revan team, 3 of them up to Gear 13, you probably should be taking your light side Revan and your light side Bastila up Gear 13 if you use that as your offensive counter, because if they're going up in speed, you have to match that and go up in speed so you can maintain even being competitive with your current counters. So you have to think, what will I set on defense to make them more powerful, and what are my counters to their teams that need to be, keeping up with the Joneses. So there are some random characters that people are doing that are going to really help with your counters. One of them that I've seen people use is like, where they're going first order and they're actually using first order on offense. So they're doing Kylo Ren unmasked to Gear 13, and that makes him almost unkillable. And that allows for them to use their first order on offense to go against a couple of key teams to make sure that they can, survive and win and all that kind of stuff. So you got to think about counters, but I would rather spread it out versus doing just one team to 5. Because, Sith Trooper does not need to be Gear 13. Marauder is awesome, and he's even more awesome at Gear 13. And I already said I want to get him to Gear 13, but I haven't done him to Gear 13. I'm working on Lightside Bastila. She's a bigger priority for me than him. So I think you should do the key 2 or 3 characters per top 5 teams, and then, move on to the next team in that. General Grievous needs that. There's just a couple key characters per top 5 team. I mean, top 10, top 15 characters all come out of 5 teams that you should be focused on first.
All right. Next question for Stoner. Max Dog says, question, should I use the Cryotech pieces on gearing up Padme or the Gear 12 finishers?
Oh yeah, gear up Padme. Like, you're gonna need the Cryotechs on certain pieces. Like, before Gear 13 finishers came out, I even took the full Cryotech piece on Shock T and crafted it, but didn't equip it to her, right? Just to have like a full Cryotech. But you're gonna need a bunch of them when you start to do Gear 13s, and Padme is gonna be one of those teams you want to take up to 13 too. So I would just start getting her up to Gear 11 first, and then that way you can start prioritizing your Gear 13s after that. I mean, Padme is so essential. You know what I mean? And at least, even if you don't have her 7 stars right now, get her up to Gear 11 and get her up to par,
All right. Next question from Sith Lord 72 for you, Loki. Question, has anyone heard of GAC opponents working together to set all zones with weak teams so they both full clear with MAC points and thus moving up into Chromium? Isn't this a form of cheating?
I thought didn't they fix that? Or you're talking actually?
Yeah. So what they're saying is that as soon as you find out who your opponent is, you message them, and then you both agree to put crap on defense. So you get the most banners on offense, both sides. So you get more points. Do you think that's a form of cheating?
I mean, I guess you could do it. Yeah. I mean, no, I don't think it's cheating, but I mean, I've heard of people doing stuff like that, like to compete the feats, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess you have to.
Yeah, the feat thing makes sense, but then one of you is only one of you is going to win. So one person is going to get the points, and the other person's not going to. Yeah. So I don't understand. With the benefit unless you're just for feats. Because you can go in with your underman squads and stuff like that, but. Someone's got to win, so someone's going to get hosed.
I mean, people are going to find a way, I guess, to beat the system in place, I guess. But is it cheating? I don't think so. I mean, you have to basically coordinate that whole thing, right? I mean, you have to mention, you have to message 12 opponents or something like that, potential. And
that's if they want to agree to do it.
It's not. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not any worse than getting in an arena shard and you guys are all taking first place every day, like what we all do.
Right. It's the same thing.
It's yeah. I mean, are you going to have some upset individuals that take Grand Arena Championship a little more serious? Yeah. I mean, they can message the developers, and I don't know if there's any repercussions for it because, again, I don't see it as a form of cheating. It's just, it's just like arena chat. So, arena shard chat, I mean, but, I don't know. It's not
cheating.
An interesting thought.
It's not cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So
at some point when they get up, so here's the problem with it, right? If you bloat your score and you're not supposed to be there, you'll eventually get bumped to a bracket where you can't do that anymore. So I think there's a lot of checks and balances in place already to fix that sort of gameplay. And you'll get to the point, if you climb too far, you're not going to have the same 12 dudes that you basically colluded with to manipulate scores like that. But we'll see. I don't see an issue with it right now. Maybe you'll get away with it for the first couple of rounds, but eventually it'll catch up to you.
Yes, it will. All right. Next question for Warrior. From Paparazzi. Question: is it better to double Zeta Bosk or non-Zeta Django as a... No. let me rephrase this where I'm sorry. Is it better to set double Zeta Bosk or non-Zeta Jenga as a leader on defense for Grand Arena?
As a rule of thumb, Bosk all the way. He's just got a better leadership ability, and this is why it's better. It's easier for the AI to get payouts, and that's what you want and need on defense is the payout. Django Fett, though, gives you an extra 30 speed, and so if you're looking at your opponent and you're seeing what they have in their roster and you think, okay, I'm going to put this on defense, and they're probably going to use this team as their counter. This is probably the team that they would use. They got JTR, blah, 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 whatever. So you look at what droids they would be running with JTR, and you go, okay, well, she's 240, and, with the extra droid synergy and stuff, I mean, they're going to be going first over my team because I've only got a 268 boss. You do the math, figure out what you think they might be using. And basically, if you feel like you're going to lose the speed battle, then you're going to swap the leads and you're going to put Django in the lead just so that way you get that speed to hopefully pop. But just remember that when you put Django in the lead, you lose all of the durability of the team. So you get the speed, but you lose durability. If for some reason they aren't able to successfully kill your team in time with a Django lead, it gets really nuts. And that team pops and gets payout and goes absolutely bonkers. So it's good, but I would always default to Bosk when possible, unless you really feel like you need that extra 30 speed to be competitive.
Yeah, it's a very specific team. Now, I go with the Django lead, but it's because you have to have the certain characters in there that do the AoEs. And the ideal team, and I call it the Van Sil team because he set this up, is you have to have Django, Boba Fett, like Zan, Dengar, because their first move is going to be their AoE, and that's how you get the payout. And it has to be super fast. You have to have the right mods for it.
Zan, for sure, like you said, because she does an AoE, plus she's the fastest bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So she helped. You got to have her if you're going to do that. That really, in my opinion, as well. I agree with that.
Yeah. So, all right. Next question for Stoner. From Juice Cipher 912. Question: what is the most universal squad to Gear 13 across all game modes?
Set for all game modes, like the whole team.
Mine is your PvP team, whatever it may be.
Well, I mean, how about the Padme team because of the negotiator? I mean,
That's true.
The Gear 13, the first Gear 13 negotiator team is going to be like top of that shard, and then you get the light side GOTV, you get a top tier counter for basically every team in the game. I mean, the only aspect is like you can't like separate one or the other because it's going to be like a light or a dark side team, but like, what's going to benefit you in ships, territory wars, GAC. I think the Padme team's making that bracket for me.
All right. Let's see here. And we just had somebody join us. We have Remon joining us. Remon, what's going on, buddy?
I've actually been here for about 20-25 minutes.
Why didn't you say anything? We talked about this, brother.
Because there was some good dialogue going on. I became a fan. I was just listening.
Then we can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Better?
Now you're cooking with Crisco.
Yeah, I just became a fan. I was just listening to Warrior talk about Star Wars.
Just as we're ending the stream, you pop in. I should kill you. If I know you've been on, man, I want to give you a question. Let me see if I can. Let's see. I got one more for War. Let me see if there's one in there. I know there's a couple people that had a question before we stopped taking them. So let me see here. Okay, I'll give you one here, Remon, because I damn it, you need a question. Let me go back in here and look. All right, one more. Who's the first one? Dexatron, a question. How important is Basilisk Shan Fallen Zeta and why?
How important is Basilisk Shan Fallen Zeta?
And why?
Doesn't she have two?
Yeah, she's got two. I mean, so I think they're referring to. I mean, I'm trying to think of it.
This is the unique. We talking about Force Bond?
Yeah, I think the one with Revan. Yeah.
No, Force Bond doesn't have a Zeta.
Let me look. Is it Sith Apprentice? I think it's Sith Apprentice. Yeah, where you get the 50% defense, potency, and tenacity. It's not really important for the Foresight, but you do get Foresight, and they get stacking offense.
Well, I mean, I think the Zeta helps out. I mean, my school of thought is this, and I'll explain a little bit more about what the benefit is in a second. But if you're running the team in Arena, I would want to put every bit of juice into that team that you can. I mean, any way you can kind of, if you can throw on an extra gear piece, especially an extra gear 12 plus piece that adds, some speed, or a Zeta, even if it's a minor thing like adding, let's say, Foresight to the leader, the potency also is a tremendous bonus. But I mean, it's going to help your team, win more battles in Arena, get more crystals. So I always think that it's important to try to get that, especially the core characters for your Arena team, like as max as possible. You know what I mean? So I always, like my team that I'm running in Arena is always, as much as I can level them up, if I see that they're, I'm able to equip another gear piece, or if I get another Zeta, I want to make sure that they're all, or if the only Zeta, like I think I've ever passed on an Arena team was like CLS's leader. And I think I still don't have that Zeta. But the potency is great, because obviously, being that, it's so hard to, stick debuffs on certain opponents. I mean, the additional potency with a team that pretty much relies on debuffs, gives a huge benefit. And obviously having the Foresight at the start of the battle helps her and Revan. So, I mean, that's the one we're talking about, right? Sith Apprentice?
Yeah, she only has one Zeta.
She does?
Yep.
Maybe it's HK that I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole other debate. I mean, people ask, is that Zeta worth it? And I'm like, yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, it's worth it.
All right. And then last question for Warrior from Rubber Duck Mafia. Question for Warrior. I find the B-28 bomber intriguing. Can it fit anywhere now or in the future? I feel like it would trip a lot of people up as no one ever sees it.
The Sith Bomber has a place on offense for Territory Wars and has a place on offense for Grand Arena Championships or even for regular Arena, but I don't see it on defense as really viable. There's just too much on offense that can chew through it. So, using it with the other Sith ships, I think if you want to have a challenge, take all of your Empire and Sith ships and make a composition up and try and beat the Millennium Falcon in Arena and use your Sith ships and your Empire ships to do it. It's possible. But practice and try that. And once you master that, make a video on it, put it out there, and you'll become YouTube famous.
Ranger, did you get your Millennium Falcon?
I did. And I'm kicking ass.
Awesome.
So, all right. So that's all the regular questions. Now we have a couple fun questions here for everybody. So Yuta says, question, when is the next Finity surgery stream? Still pending drill through the eye and more poking of thyself. I don't want to see that. Oh, Lord, that was awful. So soon, TM. Good Lord. Hopefully not soon enough. What else? Ranger question, what's with the heavy breathing? Been a long, hard week for you? Well, if I am breathing heavy, it's because my AC's off. It's like 86 degrees in here right now, so I'm literally just dying. I mean, I've literally been just nothing but sweating like I'm in a sauna. So it's pretty bad right now. We're still trying to get our AC squared away. So if I'm breathing heavy, it's because the air in here is hot as balls.
It's also because that Yoda back there is getting you excited a little bit.
Danilo Papayas, question for anyone. I'm going to go to you, Loki, on this one. You are the Magic the Gathering guru. If you had to distribute the 5 colors of Magic the Gathering among the RSG crew, who would be what color?
I will give you. I think I'll give you Black Ranger.
Oh,
So
oh,
you are the dark one. You
I
are the
am.
dark side
That's
one.
true.
So,
That's true.
I'm going to give Finn blue because blue is the control color.
Mhm.
He likes to be in control of everything, even though he's not. But
No, yeah, true.
we like to let him believe that.
True.
Grande's kind of the wild man, so I'll give him the green color. So it's forest. Tits is always red because
Yes.
that's the color of the nails that I like on her. So red's good.
And she's fiery.
And then I'll pick white because Silverbolt made me a photo and I have a white Jedi outfit on. So I'll pick that.
All right, and last one, Pop.
And Warrior would be Artifact.
Warrior could be Artifact, man. He's legendary. Or we can make Warrior multicolor.
Yeah, I would be multicolor
legend,
actually because my favorite deck is the Dragon deck, where I
There you
have, I have my Dragon Arches, and I can pull out my multicolor.
Man, if you still got your cards, we should play, man.
Of course,
Play on
I still
stream.
have my
Let's
cards.
do it. Get Urza on too, man. He said he still has his cards. So. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
That's too funny. All right, last fun question from Paparazzi. Can we stop calling it MILF? HMF works too. Yeah, call it whatever you like.
Or just call it the Falcon.
Or the Falcon. Well, which Falcon though?
That's the only Falcon. That's the
Yeah,
Falcon.
that's true. That's the original. We can call it the OG Falcon. The rest are just imitations.
If you just said the Falcon, I would know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I think so too. So that works for me. All right, so that's all the time we have for questions today. And I just saw Paparazzi in the chat say, question, should I like and subscribe? Well, that would be nice if you did, Paparazzi. We would always appreciate it. But now we're going to let everybody pimp their stuff. And let's see here. Warrior, we'll just start. I'm just gonna go down the line. Warrior, where can folks check you out at? What do you got going on? What are you focusing on in the game? What's up?
So if they travel down I-70
Oh.
and they're going between Utah and Colorado, no, I'm just kidding. You can find me in Colorado. You can find me on.
Where can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, on the interweb. So of course I'm on Twitter. I do daily updates and stuff, and I've been going mad crazy on my bounty hunter ships because I wanted to get to unlock, and it went so well. I got to unlock, and now I'm looking for 6 stars. So I'm halfway there. I still have to get like 80 shards in the next like 5 days. So probably won't happen, but we're gonna try because I'm doing like 3 refreshes. But you can find me on YouTube. And I've been telling everybody for weeks now, I'm going to get back to it. I promise I'm going to get back on the horse, blah, 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 blah. Well, this week was that week. I have done 7 videos in the last 7 days. I've done multiple roster reviews on my roster review channel. I just released one today on my roster review channel. And I have a live stream that I do every week. I did it this week on Thursday morning so I could do the 2 events. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy live stream. About 85% of the community does not want to watch a live stream. So I have taken the segments from the live stream of those events and broken them out so people can watch simply just the events. I happen to get with 3 Gear 9s, a 7-star Chewie. It's not a scam. It's not a scam. So you gotta watch that because that's pretty crazy. And then I do story time at the end of all my live streams, and I even chopped that out. So I'll be releasing story time all by its lonesome for the first time ever, which will be fun. And then I have my mod video, which is already done, but it's been private and it's been only for my patrons for the last week. They've really enjoyed that video. So I'll be making that live probably Monday morning. I was thinking Sunday or Monday morning. I'll make that public. It's a really fun video on how to supercharge your mods. One of the mods I supercharge, I have 16% defense secondary stat. So let's just say that. So hopefully you guys catch me on my main channel, my alt account. And if you've unsubscribed because I wasn't doing anything over the last 4 months, you can come back. You can
Come on back.
subscribe. Yep, you're going to get content. Like I said, 7 videos over 2 channels over the last 7 days. And moving forward, we're going to have 3 or 4 videos a week, probably at a minimum between the 2 channels.
All right. Stoner Jedi, where can folks check you out at?
Yeah, check me out on YouTube, Takedown Games. Got the Grand Arena Championships, and then Rock Reviews come by.
And you can see The Apprentice. Remon, tell the folks where they can check you out at.
Well, I'll be live tomorrow night.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm 100% sure.
You said that before. I don't trust you, Riemann.
I'll be on with Gom, good old Maurice, and Avinash, and possibly Ranger as well, if you'd like to join us. And yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night around midnight, so definitely check that out. Hopefully, I mean, according to Warrior, 85% of you don't like live streams, so hopefully the other 15% show up.
One can only pray. Loki, we had some good feedback from Magic the Gathering. Any plans in the future for that? For anything upcoming?
I mean, our stuff. I still want to get Finn on board, so we're trying. I know he's busy with other stuff and the Patreon stuff that we got going on, but we definitely want to do some cardboard live streaming fun stuff moving forward. As far as like other fun events I'll be at, I'll be in Chicago. I think it's end of August. There's an event there called the Old School Players Ball, so I'll be there shuffling up some cards, and then Magic Fest Vegas, I think, is end of August as well. So there's 2 back-to-back events I'll be at next month.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, and if you're watching this on the Reality Skewed Gamers. Do me a favor, folks. Stop what you're doing right now. Give us a thumbs up on the video. It does spread our content out to the YouTube world and helps with the monetization. So if you can like and subscribe and follow the channel, that's always a plus. And do me a favor as well. Check out these other channels. You know, these folks come out here on the weekend to help answer your guys' questions. So the least you can do is go check out their content and give them thumbs up and subscribe to their content as well to help their channels. You know, we're a community, and it does make a big difference for them to continue to keep putting out the great stuff that you guys enjoy, not just us, but them as well. So do me a favor and do that. So check out our stuff, check out their stuff, you know, just to show your support for them being here and helping you answer your Galaxy Heroes questions. So with that, I'd like to thank the panel for their time. I'd like to thank everybody in chat for being here and participating. Always a fun time. I don't think we have anything else going on today. I know tonight we will be doing the Pictionary. So we'll be doing that tonight. If you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. Not a lot going in the game and stuff. So check that out tonight. If there's anything, you know, be subscribed. Maybe I'll do something here later on. But I got some lore videos and stuff that I need to work on. Tomorrow we'll be doing our D&D stream, so I know that for a fact. And then next week we'll start it all over again. So on behalf of myself and the panel, thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you later. Peace.